There are things buried beneath the world, not dead, not forgotten, but waiting. And long before Black Hollow had a name, before its people raised stone walls or whispered prayers into the night, there was only earth, endless and quiet, and beneath it, something listened. It did not see as we see, nor breathe as we breathe, yet it knew when footsteps passed above it. It knew when voices disturbed the soil, and over time, in ways no living mind could understand, it began to learn. The first settlers who came to that land did not arrive by chance, though they believed they had chosen it, believed they had discovered it. But each of them had dreamed the same dream long before their journey began, a darkness stretching endlessly in every direction, and within it, a single bell hanging where no structure stood. A bell that did not swing, yet somehow called to them, not with sound, but with something deeper, something that settled into their thoughts and pulled them forward until they could no longer ignore it. They built their village slowly, carving homes from stone and earth, believing they had found a place untouched by the world, a place they could shape into something new. But from the very beginning, there were signs that something beneath them was not as still as it seemed. The ground was warmer in certain places, unnaturally so, and tools would bend or dull without reason when they struck too deep, as if the earth itself resisted being broken. Some spoke of hearing faint echoes while digging, echoes that did not match their movements, sounds that seemed to come from below rather than around them. But these warnings were dismissed, buried beneath the need to survive and the belief that all land could be conquered with enough effort. And so they dug deeper. At first it was for water, then for stronger stone, then simply because something compelled them to continue. The tunnels stretched farther than intended, twisting in directions no one remembered carving, and those who worked below began to speak less, not out of fear, but because words felt unnecessary in that place, as if something else was already listening. Then one day, the digging stopped, not by choice but by discovery, for they had broken into something that was not soil and not stone, something vast and hollow that should not have existed beneath their village. The chamber was enormous, far larger than anything that could have been created by human hands, its walls curving inward in unnatural ways, smooth in some places and ridged in others, like the inside of something living rather than something built. No tools had shaped it, no fire had touched it, and yet it was not untouched. It felt occupied, not by presence but by purpose. At the center of that chamber hung the bell. It was not attached to chains or beams, nor did it rest upon any surface. It simply existed there, suspended in the air as though the space itself held it in place. Its surface was uneven, formed of a dark material that seemed to shift when looked at too closely, and across it were markings that no one could read, yet no one could forget, patterns that lingered in the mind long after the eyes turned away. At first they kept their distance, watching it in silence, unsure of what they had found. But curiosity is stronger than caution, and it does not take long for fear to fade when something remains still. One man stepped forward, drawn not by courage, but by the same pull that had brought them all to that land in the first place, and he reached out, placing his hand against the surface of the bell. It was warm, not with heat but with something deeper, something that felt almost alive beneath his touch, and without fully understanding why, he struck it. For a moment nothing happened. There was no sound, no movement, no change in the air around them, and some believed that whatever power the bell held had long since faded, that it was nothing more than a strange formation beneath the earth. But then the ground shifted. It was subtle at first, a faint tremor beneath their feet, but it grew, spreading through the chamber and into the tunnels beyond, rising upward into the village itself. The bell had not made a sound that they could hear, but something had heard it. In the present, Ulrich staggered backward as the second toll of the bell echoed through the tower, though echo was not the right word, for the sound did not travel outward into the air, but downward into the earth, as if it were returning to something that had been waiting for it. The floor beneath him cracked, thin lines spreading rapidly across the stone before splitting open entirely, revealing a darkness below that seemed deeper than the structure should have allowed. A cold breath rose from that opening, not like wind, but like something exhaling after a long, patient silence, and with it came a feeling that pressed against his mind, heavy and unfamiliar. He tried to move, to reach the staircase behind him, but it had begun to twist, the steps pulling apart and sinking slightly, as though they were being drawn toward whatever lay beneath the tower. Dust filled the air, the walls groaned under a pressure that had not existed moments before, and then he heard it. Not a sound in the traditional sense, but something layered, something complex, voices overlapping in a way that should have been impossible. They did not speak in words, yet meaning pressed into his thoughts all the same, fragments of something ancient and patient, something that did not need language to be understood. The darkness below shifted, and from it, something began to rise. It did not climb, nor did it crawl. It simply emerged, as though the ground itself was allowing it to pass. Its form was difficult to comprehend, its shape changing subtly as it moved, limbs extending and bending at unnatural angles, its surface moving like smoke trapped within something solid. It did not rush toward him, did not react with urgency or aggression. Instead it paused, its head tilting slightly as if observing him, as if trying to place him within some memory it only partially understood. Behind it, more shapes began to form within the darkness, faint at first, but growing clearer as they moved closer, one becoming many, many becoming something vast and silent. They did not speak, yet the pressure in Alric's mind grew stronger, not painful but overwhelming, as if he were being included in something far larger than himself. It became clear in that moment that the bell was never meant to warn anyone. It was never meant to protect the village from what lay below. It was a signal, a bridge between what existed above the earth and what had always existed beneath it. Far beyond the tower, the ground beneath Black Hollow began to shift. Homes trembled as the soil beneath them moved in slow, deliberate waves. Doors creaked open without touch, and the quiet of the village deepened into something unnatural. Animals grew still, as if listening, as if they understood something that the people did not. Deep below, far beneath even the chamber where the bell had first been found, something vast stirred. It had not moved in a very long time, not since the last time the bell had been answered, and now, after so many years of silence, it was waking once more. Alric's breath shook as he stared at the figure before him, his thoughts struggling to keep pace with what he was witnessing. He realized then that these things were not emerging to attack or destroy. They were not invading the world above. They were returning to it, answering a call that had been sent long ago and answered only now. The creature stepped closer, the space around it seeming to distort slightly as it moved, and though it had no visible expression, no human features to read, there was something unmistakable in its presence, something that felt like recognition. Then the bell rang again. This time the sound did not come from the tower. It came from below. It was deeper, heavier, older than the sound Alric had heard before, and it carried with it a weight that seemed to press against everything above it. For the first time, the thing beneath the world had answered not with movement, not with silence, but with a sound of its own. A response that confirmed what should never have been true, that the bell was never alone, and that whatever lay beneath the earth had been listening for far longer than anyone could have imagined.